Good morning. Thank you for joining us on today's live on Equa TV International. I'm Sambo Solomon, and today with me on the set, I have some beautiful sisters here looking adorable on the set. You know, Joyce and Prudence. How are you doing?
Fine, thank you.
Good morning.
Yeah, good to have you.
Good morning.
Good morning to you. Thank you for that beautiful presentation and introduction, you know. Yeah,
What about it?
awesome.
Yeah, okay. You know, whenever I'm around you guys, I learn a lot, and then I feel protected. And then, even though sometimes, you know, Joyce can be,
Wow.
she can be a bully sometimes.
It's like I would reverse that
What you said in the
appreciation,
beginning,
though. But let me not keep quiet so that it will not be as if it's right and bullying.
okay, it's true.
Really?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you for joining us. We are live on Facebook and YouTube. You can do well to join us and then follow us in the conversation for today, and then drop your input, and that to show that we are together, we'll relate, and then see your angle based on what we'll be discussing today. And then today we want to look at breakups. Personal growth. We are looking personal growth, and then we want to see what is personal growth, and then what are distractions when someone want to grow personally, and then how to avoid, and then we look at how to improve yourself even while growing. So today we'll just share our experience, and then you too as well, you can do well to share your experience, and then let's know your view. Personal growth.
Personal growth.
What is personal growth?
Okay, I would say personal growth is your mental, physical, and spiritual development of yourself. How you mentally or physically or spiritually even build yourself to a desired position, to a desired level that is acceptable. Yes, to an extent acceptable. Yes, it's like when you see a child waking, when they give birth to a baby, and then the baby continues to grow. Yes, so personal growth would be like, okay, so from childhood you're like a baby. So when you're growing physically, you're supposed to be growing mentally and and intellectually as well. So I think that's what I would say is personal growth.
Okay. Personal growth to me is a process of both understanding yourself and then pushing yourself to reach your potentials. Like it can start with you asking yourself questions about who am I becoming? Who are you becoming? And then how that you plan to get to where you actually want to be. So for me, that is personal growth. Where do you want to be? Where are you right now? Are you actually pushing yourself? What are the things that you're doing to get to that potential, that that place you actually want to be? So it is a process of understanding yourself. When you understand yourself, then you push yourself to reach your highest potential. That is what personal growth is.
And I would like to add, like I said, it was just building yourself basically. So it's not that you just learn something and then you keep it in your head. No, personal growth means that when you learn it, you're actually putting it into practice, and that at the end of the day, people are actually seeing the evidence of what you're learning outside, not just you come and just stand and say, oh, I've grown myself personally, and nobody can see the evidence of it. When you've grown yourself, personal growth, when you have grown yourself to certain position, people would notice that. They will see that you have grown to that level.
And you know, like you said, it radiates.
Yes.
You cannot just boast and say, oh, I'm okay. We've not been seeing you, Sambo Solomon. Well, I've been trying to develop myself personally, and then people are not seeing anything. If there's no evidence, then there's no growth. Like people should be able to see it radiate all over you. We should be able to see some changes. Then you can talk about personal growth. So when you are really engaged in personal growth, then they will see it, like it will radiate all over you. People will be able to see that, yes, you are growing from where you used to be. Yes, you've not been around, and then you came back. From your speech, from the things we see, oh, there's actually growth and development. So it radiates. That's another thing about personal growth.
Yeah. So in nutshell, we can say it's something that you want to be, and then people see the evidence, reflecting, in you, not just saying, I want to be a pilot, and then you're building yourself to be a pilot, and then all you do, we see you in places that doesn't relate to where you say you are going, or you are building yourself towards. As a pilot, definitely we know the kind of things that we see you associated with, like the airport, the aircraft, these are some. Well, when you see you dealing with motorbikes, and then the rest, there's a question. People will
begin
start
to think whether you want to do mechanical engineering.
Okay. I just want us to look at it. Personal growth, it's something that you have to be deliberate about. It's something that has to do with you. Something that this is who you want to be, this is what you want to do, and this is how you want to go about it. But in this particular issue of personal growth, there are so many things attached to it. Like when we talk about general growth, the growth that you give birth to a baby, you're feeding a baby, you are expecting to see the baby at age 1, is advancing, is growing. You are seeing the changes. Not that a child at 1, but he's still crawling. Yes, there are some like that, but what I'm trying to say, a child at 2, 3, 4, the baby is crawling, then you know something is wrong. You know something is wrong. And then I try to see what you are trying to say earlier about the manifestation
Of the growth.
of the growth. People seeing it, and then you are applying it. But what I want us to do, to look at, is that, okay, is it possible for someone to just say, this is what I want to be, and then you are just open to anything, and then you think that thing is possible? Because when you look at people, you discuss with them, you hear people saying, I want to be this, I want to be that, I want to be this, I want to be that. And then you see their attitude toward what they are saying. It's far apart, like day and night. Is it possible for someone, because when you talk and said, I don't think that is possible, and then you hear people saying, what God say you will be, you will be.
Let me tell you something about personal growth. Like we said, established from the definition is knowing who you are and then pushing yourself to reach that highest potential. Like you have to be, it's something that you have to be deliberate about. And then when you talk about personal growth, it's not restricted to just, maybe acquiring a skill or starting up a business, a class, and getting educated in a particular field. Like it can be all spheres of life. Like you want to actually take out time to develop yourself. If it is skill you want to learn, you want to grow at it, and you want to be the best. And then so if you have made up your mind that you want to actually develop yourself, you don't want to be like every other person. Yes, even if you are a mechanic, an engineer, what do they call them? Like an engineer, and then you don't want to be that engineer that is just some random engineer, that you want to be different. Like you want to reach your peak. Like you won't just sit and just be open to anything. Like when this person comes and say, can we just go to this bar, and then you get up and go, you go to, like you have to be deliberate about your decision. Let me use academic circle for instance. Your parent give birth to you, you went to primary school and then secondary school, and then look at that child that wants to go to the university, the high institution. Like he wants to do everything possible to impress his parents, to make them feel that yes, he can do it, so that they can sponsor him to write the JAM and then he can get admission and go to that university. That person, you see him always reading. You see him like always talking about that career that he wants to build. Oh, I want to become a doctor. His conversation, everything, his interest, his passion is there. When he sees people with lab coat, he wants to ask questions, he wants to, so he's deliberate about reading, finding out things. There's JAM he needs to write, all his attention is there because there's something he's aiming at. He knows himself and he knows that he can do it. And that is what he will pursue until he gets it. So you cannot just make up your mind that I want to become a doctor and I want to be one of the best doctor that they will talk about, and then you will just be, well, what will be, will be. Like, no. You won't reduce yourself to what will be, but you'll be deliberate about putting in some works and efforts to get to where you want to be. And that is how that child will write JAM, get admission. And when he gets to school, he's going to meet his peers. People that will say, let's go for a party. People that will say, there's one welcome special here. People that will say, can we go and smoke? People will say that, can we just go and follow these girls and all of that? And he'll be like, no, like he won't do it. You think it's because he doesn't want to do it. At that age, like your friends will give you reason why you need to explore. But because there's the bigger vision, there's a bigger dream that you want to achieve. And that child will continue to focus on his study. While they are partying, he's reading. While they are sleeping, he's reading. There's something he's aiming at. That's personal development. You need to be deliberate about having your goals set out, what you want to achieve, and then keep walking in line till you get to that stage. And no wonder at the end of the day, after graduating from school, going to the medical school, you see them on their gowns happily snapping, and then the joy that comes with it because you know the effort you actually put to it. Think about the student that goes to check his result on the notice board and behold, is an A. Do you know the joy? Why? Because, the person would think of all the effort that he has actually put to this, and then it paid at the end of the day. So when you are deliberate about understanding yourself and wanting yourself to reach that highest potential that you know that is embedded in you, so you are going to be deliberate about setting your goals and then working in line with that goals until you achieve a result. So you won't be anything or whatever will be. No.
It's just as she said, personal growth, you have to be deliberate about it. Yes, so you have to be deliberate about growing yourself. It's not that you decide, okay, I want to do this for myself. Let me see, I want to be, for instance, personal growth. Sometimes it is that you have to grow yourself to a point where certain things don't bother you. Sometimes that's what you personally decided you want to work on. Probably you don't want when people are talking bad about you, you might want to grow yourself to a point where you don't just retaliate anyhow. You have to gather your thoughts before you do that. And then you now go back home and you just sit there and be like, anyhow, like if somebody, anyhow it is, if somebody comes to come and attack me, I'm just going to sit down and just watch the person. And then you don't build it in yourself that you won't intentionally prevent yourself from getting angry to that point. So it's like when you want to grow personally, you have to have mental reminders, mental alarms that begin to tell you, no, this way you're going is wrong, this way you're going is right, this is what you're supposed to do, this is what you're not supposed to do. Because if you want to grow yourself to a desired position, you would have to pay attention to these mental alarms. It's like some people have personally grown themselves to that point where they know that by this time. So I went for a funeral service, a wake keep yesterday. I just wanted to use this example to give definition of what I want to do. I mean, to give a description of what I'm trying to say. This woman, everybody that came to give a testimony about her said one thing, and that is that she wakes up by 2 a.m. in the morning to pray. It's a form of personal growth. She had already grown herself to that point that when it is 2 a.m. she wakes up to pray. because this is what she's focused on. This is what I'm going to do. So her mental alarms wake her up by that time. So even in her subconscious, she knows that by this time I'm going to wake up. I personally have something like that. Like I tell myself that I'm going to wake up by 4:30. If I continuously ring it in my head, I'm waking up 4:30, then you will see me waking up 4:30. So even if I'm sleeping so deep, I would open my eyes by that 4:30. It is up to me now to get up and get moving. Exactly. So when you want to have personal growth, you need to put in those pointers in check. You have to check yourself mentally, put some things in your head, and you know that when you're going, for instance, the example of you were giving about somebody going to school and then friends telling you to go to party. The moment you begin to get up to dress and go to party, your mental alarm tells you that's not what you're here for. So that too is a form of personal growth. Like when you're growing yourself personally, you're attentive to what you want to do. You persevere. You focus. You don't allow distractions to hinder you from what exactly you want to achieve. And that's all part of personal growth. And personal growth actually does take time. Most of the times, it's a gradual process. You don't just sleep and wake up and say, "Oh, I've grown myself personally." And it's not something that you just wake up and say. We said it earlier on. It is something that shows itself. It is evident that you've grown yourself personally. That when somebody who knows you a month ago or a year ago sees you today or tomorrow, the person will know that there's something different about this person. Yeah, so that's what happens with personal growth.
Yeah. If you are still watching, this is Equa TV International, and on the show Today's Life, and I want you to tell us how you feel about the topic that we are discussing. And then one particular thing that I try to grab about this issue of personal growth is that number one, it comes with sacrifice, it comes with pain. Because if you decide, you said this is what you want to do in life, definitely there are certain things that you have to sacrifice in order to get there. If you don't make up your mind, to sacrifice, for where you want to see yourself to be, definitely there will be obstruction. And then definitely, again, there will be pain, because there are certain things that will come your way that during the process is not what you desire, is not how you want, but because you know where you want to go. Yes, the pain will be there, but that should not deter you from really pushing. And then personal growth. I want us to look at the areas of distraction, because when you talk about personal growth, you have family, you have friends, you have peer group, and then you have colleagues around you. These are people that when you are growing, what you are doing, things they are around you. Some will say positive things, some will say negative things. Some will use that which you are doing to even mock you. In this kind of circumstance, how do you gather yourself and pull yourself out and then push yourself to that level?
If you want to grow, it's a struggle. Like if you set your mind to push yourself to that height of reaching your potential, then you can't take away the place of distractions. It will always be there. It can come from family, it can come from friends, it can come from colleagues, it can come from neighbors, it can even come from social media. Like think about that person that says, I want to be the best in presentations. And every day you tell yourself, I want to be reading tips, skills, like watching skills that will develop me. Then as soon as you just pick up your system or your phone to just check out tips, then you see a pop-up advert or something, or a message on WhatsApp or Facebook, and then you just go and start. Before you know, you have spent hours, and then you have lost out time that you're supposed to be reading tips or watching some videos that is going to equip and help you. So distractions will always be there. It's just left for you. Like I said, being deliberate is saying, like, regardless of what will come my way, there's already a line that I've drawn, and then I'll make sure I supervise it that nobody will cross it. I recall when I went for service, like you meet with people that are from different places, different background, people that just see life as, oh, let's just catch cruise, let's flex and then move on. It's just 1 year now, let's enjoy ourselves. There's nobody watching us. And then some group of guys were like, babe, how far now? More could see now later. Like it was, there was already an arrangement that's more like a get together, but then in the get together, you smoke whatever, you drink whatever, and like that. That was the whole goal. And so that at the end of the day, they will see who is the baba. You get. So when I was asking, oh, what's this all about? And then I just smiled and like, oh, that. And then I remembered, like, one of the people that advised me when I was going was the GM here. And then he said, Joyce, as you go, before being a core member, you are a Christian. Like that struck me, and almost throughout my service here, it kept ringing in my mind. He said, before being a core member, you are a Christian. So where even in your primary place of assignment, before any responsibility that they will give you, know that you are a Christian. So it means you're a Christian core member. So whatever you are going to do, before it reflects the other name, it should be about you being a Christian first before the other. So that thing that they're asking me to, let's do it now. Almost nothing will happen. Like it's just catch phone and all of that. We're all adults. Like that's the word you always say. Are we not adults? Babe, like what's up now? You the Jones, so you know those kind of. So like like I'm not expected to do this. Like there are people that so look up to you, and then they don't expect that from you, and like I'm not supposed to do. There's something I'm actually aiming at. Even as I'm here for this service, there's a bigger dream. It's a process. So at this process, at this stage, I shouldn't be distracted. I shouldn't be deterred from reaching that goal. And then it might, like you said, it might be painful that sometimes you just see people having fun and all of that, but you have to just pick your Bible and go to church. As you're going there, asking, where they go now? Kai, you and church, eh?
Call you
yeah, church, hello. Yeah, Kai, you don't have to rest from this church, eh? So what program is going on now? Like they'll try to make you ridicule you, mock you and all of that, but we join them and laugh about it now. Christ is the reason we are living, so why would you be ashamed of it? So you want to follow me and go, you get. So like there's the dream, there's the bigger picture. Sometimes some of these things are just momentary, and then those distractions, like I said, they will always be there. It's just up to you to make up your mind. Your friends will tell you things, they will call you names, you go to your phone, you want to learn a skill, you see some pop-up adverts, distractions, some pictures, note pictures, and then all of that. But it's left for you to make up your mind. If you set your mind that this is what you want to achieve, I tell you, no matter distraction, you will do away with it. So that's why I said, when they said, let's do this, there's a bigger picture for me. And if I do this, it's going to distract me. So I won't do that. I remember that back then in school, there were times that I sat down in front of the mirror and I just started crying. Like I just felt exhausted and tired. Like I was actually living, my room was at the last floor. So you can just stand and see how people are walking around. I say, see, it's Sunday evening, everybody's just going out and then people are just enjoying themselves. Cars are coming, picking people and all of that. Look at me, I'm struggling with assignment to understand the question. Like I've been reading it over and over again. And I was like, why can't I just live like every other person? And then because I just don't want to end as average student, like there's something I want and I cannot do that. So it keeps reminding me that there's a bigger picture. And then I just clean the tears, go back to the assignment. This assignment, then last, we have to do it. And then I keep encouraging myself. And the result is always beautiful. Like we've seen people that have been reading books. They keep reading books because they want to improve on their reading, on their speaking. Like for me to speak well, I have to read. And you see them reading novels and all. There are people that will attend classes because there's a bigger picture. All these people enrolling for catering classes, you want to learn carpentry, you want to learn all of this because there's something they want to achieve. So when your friend is saying, you every day are going to that barbing salon that they will go and be sending you and all of that, I'll go because I want to have a shop one day and I also want to be barbing people. So if you know the bigger picture and then you believe in yourself, then regardless of whatever will come your way, it is always a no. Have you not seen people that will protect their job with their life because they don't want to even joke with it? There is a bigger picture. So when distraction comes, they can fight you. They will fight you even if you are their family member. If you step on the way, they will fight you. That's why I say some people will draw line. They will supervise it and make sure that nobody crosses it because they believe in themselves and then the bigger picture. Personal growth, it radiates. So
Yeah, personal growth, it entails self-discipline. You have to be self-disciplined. Like, that's basically what she was talking about, yeah. But I want to say it like this. So you have to discipline yourself to an extent that small things don't sway you. Like she said, at some point she had to cry because she was thinking, oh, she should have been doing this at this time. She should have been doing that at this time. And there are some things that I know I did at some point, and when I look back, I'm like, did you think before you do these things or not? That's all part of you not being grown. Like you've not grown yourself personally. Yes, that's why you'll be able to, you just sit down and then allow somebody to just come in and just tell you what to do, and then you'll be going, like you know how Rams, just before doing one dida, you not turn and start following the person. That's what happens when you don't discipline yourself. And if you don't have self-discipline, then there's no way there's going to be growth. Growth just becomes stagnant. It's like a child growing, and then you reach a certain point and the child is not moving anymore. People begin to ask questions. What's going on? Why is this child? Oh, you're expecting a child to talk by age 1, 2. The child should begin to have audible speech. And then you begin to wonder, like, this child is not saying anything. Is everything all right? You will see parents going to the hospital to check out, is this child okay? So most of the times, if you have not grown yourself personally, it shows as well. You get to a point that some things that you're supposed to, like, somebody would just say to me like, oh, this is supposed to be a common, something that you should do if you have grown yourself to this point, and you are not doing it. So even you yourself, at some point, you begin to notice that if you really are a focused person and you know that this is where you're heading to, you begin to notice that I've not gotten to that point that I want to reach, and then you begin to work towards it. So in a nutshell, it really needs self-discipline. When you want to grow personally, you have to focus on self-discipline. You have to discipline yourself, discipline your mind, your thoughts, your character as well. It's all part of personal growth. You have to discipline your speech too. You have to discipline yourself in every single aspect of life, and that's when growth actually that's when there's open ground for growth to, growth, you need to it's like you need to add in fertilizer, then you need to till the soil so that it will be like agric. You need to till the soil so that you have a bountiful harvest. That's what happens with personal growth. You need to pull out thorns that are around you and trying to choke you, and that's when it comes to the mind. You have to stop negativities. All that is part of personal growth. You have to stop speaking to yourself in negative terms. You have to begin to think positive as well. All that is all part of personal growth.
There's something that usually happens when you decide to grow yourself personally. There's this urge that can just set in, like the urge to quit. Every successful person that we've seen today, like that we talk about today, they actually tore the line of personal growth. They were deliberate about doing away with distraction, setting goals, and working in line with them till they reach that ladder that today we see and we talk about them as successful people. So there are times where you feel that urge to quit. It's normal. Every successful person feels it. So it is very important that when that urge comes, understand, like I said, there were points I cried, but then I didn't allow the pain to make me feel, oh, let me just walk down the street too, like every other person. So we need to be focused. Like you're fighting a bad attitude, you want to develop on your skills, you have a career you want to pursue, you want to leave an attitude or a behavior or a character that is bringing you down, make you seen in bad light. Like it's something you can do. You can begin by, like, if it's an attitude you want to change from, maybe people say you lie a lot, or you are an addict of drug and alcohol. There are things you can change. You can replace those habits with things that can grow you. Maybe you are always into drugs. Now you can decide to learn a skill. Why not engage yourself in maybe you want to learn camera work, you want to go into photography. When you place it, you see that you're leaving that attitude, and then your time is going like in this direction of learning photography and all of that. So it is important that people are deliberate, set goals, always check it, ask yourself, okay, today you wake up, how far so far? Am I actually becoming who I've actually set out to be? It is not something difficult, like just master the act of saying no when the need is. So if you want to develop yourself personally, there are times that the answer should be no. Don't seek to please people. When you seek to please friends, please family, please neighbors, and the society at large, then you won't grow. So you have to discipline yourself, know when to say yes, know when to say no. Always check that goal that you have set out, to check up your life if you're actually going that direction. When you see you're derailing, you come back to the right track. When you feel the urge to quit, tell yourself, I can do it. And like the Bible says in Philippians 4:13, I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. Sometimes we see the bigger picture and we're like, it's bit difficult. Can I reach there? You can reach there. You can do it. Just be determined. Open your mind. Be passionate. Put interest in it. Work towards it, and you'll get there.
Do we have threshold, like a point that you just feel, okay, is okay, you don't need to grow yourself, like you have reached the peak in personal growth?
I don't think so. I think when you, for instance, when you're beginning to when you're beginning to develop as a person, the first thing you begin to think of, I want to grow myself. Maybe the first thing you think of is, I want to grow myself intellectually. And then you reach this certain point. When you reach that point, you'll be like, oh no, there's something ahead. I need to grow myself to that point as well. So the thing is that if you're growth oriented, you're thinking growth and development every time, then you won't stop growing. You just continue to grow. So I was learning, at some point I was learning how to sew, and I met someone, a friend was talking to me, and I was like, I've not finished learning, but when I finish learning, and then he's like, the moment that you finish learning, I'm going to stop. I'm not going to patronize you. So it was at that point that he talked to me that growth is something that is continuous. You don't get to a point that you say you don't want to grow again. You would, if you're goal oriented, you continue to want to grow. You don't just stop at one point. And I'd like to also say that the Bible also encourages growth a million times. Like there are a number of times in the Bible that it was always mentioned, grow yourself in faith, grow yourself in love, grow yourself in, they're just different references that we're saying grow. So I think as a Christian, like growth is supposed to be like our daily, like it's something that you're supposed to live it day in, day out. You're just growing. Because if you stay stagnant, you might just not reach the goal.
Now, talking about the Bible, you know, there's a point that Paul talked about baby Christians, and then, you know, he talked about a point whereby you'll be taking milk. He talked about a time that you'll be eating meat. So that means there's a transformation. There's a growth. So the Bible really encouraged that. But one thing that I want to say, it is very key, it's very important. Personal development, you know, you can't rule it out in life. Whatever profession you have chosen to follow, because some people think is when you are pursuing educational career. Maybe you want to be a doctor, or you want to be a professor, or you want to be a teacher, or so on and so forth. they don't look at the area of handwork, and they feel, well, I know how to do carpentry, and then it stopped at that. They don't see a reason why someone would strive hard and then put his best, even in carpentry that he does, and then bring out sleek finishing, good design, like something that you will see and it will wow you, and you will start wondering, you know, is this guy coming from this area with this kind of design and artwork and stuff like that. So you see, we limit ourselves sometimes, you know, to, but you can't just blame people, because I gist with people a lot and I hear how they respond to certain issues that that you find out the community and then people around them influence them, like, to think the way they are thinking. So you find out that that alone can just help, can just influence you to not to do well in whatever you are doing, and that I think is not encouraging. So if you are watching us there, and possibly you just feel what you are doing, it's okay. Like my sister said, you know, learning is a process, it's a progressional. It's always like you keep learning, you keep researching, you keep reading about your craft, about your art, about everything that you decide. You say, this is what I want to do. It is very, very important to know what is happening in that particular community, in that particular world that you have chosen, because if knowledge is evolving, you know, every day, then definitely you know that new things are coming. So you have to engage yourself so that you will know what is really happening, and then challenge yourself and said, okay, I will push myself and then do better in whatever I want to do. Joyce and Prudence, thank you so much for doing this particular episode with me. And then I learned a lot. I was quiet. I was listening to you to hear your own experience, your own angle. And then honestly, I'm blessed today. I'm blessed.
We are all blessed.
Yeah, thank you so much, and God bless you.
Amen.
And for the viewer there, don't allow anything to deter you, Lord, from getting where you want to be. Because in life, definitely you'll see distractions. They will come. They will definitely come. Because even Jesus Christ did not promise us a smooth sail in whatever we are doing. So for that, know that as they come, develop that resistance. Tell yourself that I am made wonderfully, you know, by God, and God have given me everything that I need to prosper. So in Christ Jesus, I know I can do all things. So always remind yourself, and then you will see the result at the end. Thank you for staying with us. Thank you for your comment. Thank you for your likes. We appreciate that. Please let them keep coming. Thank you, and God bless you. Bye-bye.